Hi, I'm Pete Agnew with Nazareth, and you're watching CMS TV.
It is Chris Aiken Presents, and I, of course, am Chris Aiken. And today on the show, we are going to be speaking with one of the titans of classic rock. There's a few of them still left out there. This guy and the band he's going out with make up two of them. The band, of course, is Nazareth. They will be on tour with Foghat starting April the 30th in Minnesota. And here to talk all about this tour and maybe a little bit of history with Nazareth and more is the great bassist and one of the founding members, Mr. Pete Agnew. Pete, how are you, sir?
I'm very well, Chris. Thanks very much. Still breathing.
Absolutely. And you can't ask for more than that these days, can you?
Absolutely. Every day is a bonus.
Right on. Well, Pete, let's talk about this, man. The Titans of Classic Rock Tour. It's very exciting for whitebeards like myself, as well as for kids that were raised well by people with the white beards like myself. Talk a little bit about this tour, man, because this is a fun night of just straight up rock and roll the way it was meant to be played.
Yeah, well, it's a tour that's happening after being talked about for a long time. I've for years with different agencies, booking agents, I would say, why don't we tour with Foghat? Because that would be a good mix, for Nazareth and Foghat. I think that the people who, the fans that like these bands would like this, the same kind of people like the band, Mm-hmm. And as I say, so we just joined a new agency, and they come up with a suggestion. And I thought, well, that's wonderful, because like I say, I've been talking about it for years. So it's happening at last, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good tour. It's a good mix. It'll be a good night out, a good ticket for anybody coming along.
Absolutely. Well, it's funny, Pete, looking at this, and obviously your history with Nazareth as well as Roger Earl with Foghat. You guys are two of the last original men, the original rockers standing from the golden age of the 70s. When you look at putting a tour like this together, do you ever talk about the old days and the brotherhood that you guys built in the 70s, which kind of almost opened the door for the 80s scene to really blossom?
Absolutely. Well, the thing is, even with my own band, when I to talk about anything back there in the 70s and things would just be, that's before most of them were born, So I've got nobody to talk to about it, really. Maybe Roger, the guys in their band are more our age. We never really met Foghat that much over the years. You would think that we'd sort of run into each other a lot because of the festivals and stuff. But I never really ever met the guys until we did although we'd known each other, but music and stuff. And we did a festival up in Canada in Minnesota a few years ago, about 2 or 3 years back. And we were on the same bill, and that's really the first time I'd sort of talked to Roger and that. And I knew the guitar player from when it was with Molly Hatchet, but other than that, I didn't really know the guys. So we've never had much of a chance to yak about any days, never mind the old days. But I'm sure we're going to be doing a bit of that once we meet up.
Sure. Is there a I don't know, like, for you, is there a sense of this makes that more of a special tour, being on tour with an act that came up at the same time as you, just because of exactly what you were saying, because you can kind of reminisce about the glory days?
Well, it's the thing is, for the people that want to come along and see it as well. I mean, that's the time that they're interested in, and a lot, as you said yourself, in the 80s and 90s, a lot of the young rock bands that come out then, they're sort of emulating what was happening in the 70s, and these guys were kind of pioneers, the same as us. You guys like them, the guys that we would tour a lot with, and that had the same kind of Blue Oyster Cult were old pals of ours. So we used to tour with them quite a bit, stuff like that. So you're going back to that time, if you like, when all these guys were getting their first hits. We were all getting our first hits at the same time, So we all came through the same period, if you like. And it's, I think that the people coming along, that's what they're looking for.
Right, certainly. Now, Pete, obviously there has been a recent change in the band. Vocalist Carl Sentence leaves the band. Gianni Pontillo comes into the band. I don't want to get into the whole politics of that because, that is what that is. But is it difficult to make a change like that at this point in the career? And what do you look for? Do you look for just somebody you can get along with? Do you look for somebody that sings like the classics? I mean, what do you look for in a new singer?
That's what happened with this. This man fell in our lap. It was like it was a gift from the gods. Gianni is an amazing vocalist, and he's an amazing vocalist for Nazareth. He actually creates the Nazareth sound that people would want to hear. This is the guy that's really filled the slot of Dan, if you like. He's got an amazing voice, and he loves that. He's a much younger guy as well. I mean, Gianni's only 48, but his favourite period of rock comes from the same time as us. Okay. All the songs that we like is all the same thing. So he's an amazing singer. He's a very nice man, which is great. And he just came along at the right time. I'd never known the guy up until about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
When he was first pointed out to me, and I was absolutely blown away when I heard him singing. And the great thing is all the fans are absolutely in love with him. So
sure.
we've only played half a dozen shows, I think, and everyone, everybody's raving about not just him, about the band in general. It's really lifted the sort of spirits of the band, and the whole atmosphere of the thing as an atmosphere of rejuvenation, if you like. It feels as if we just had some really nice medicine.
Does the actual performance itself change? I mean, obviously you get new energy in the band, but most fans don't realize how important it is to have the familiarity on stage with each person, because you know where they're going to be, how they move as well as how they play. Has it been a very comfortable, easy move?
Yeah, because the guy, it's the whole thing about that, and we tour all the time. That's we're a live band, and it's they create the atmosphere for playing on the stage. If you go up, you can go up and go through the movements, if you like, and go through the motions and play everything correctly, and everything can be fine. Or you can go up, and when somebody really creates a great mood, it raises everybody's game. And everybody starts to. What's happened now is the guys are really enjoying playing these songs again, and it's when I'm playing. I mean, I never ever thought I'd really listen to Hair of the Dog really that much anymore. When I'm playing it, it was kind of automatic.
Right.
And it's not like that. Doing it with Gianni, I feel as if we just done the album. It's just great. It's just having this great vocalist singing these songs again. And he's just lifted the spirits of everyone in the band and everyone around us. I mean, it's the whole vibe of being on tour. It's hard to describe it, but the whole road crew and everybody. It's like a different band now, and we're really, really excited about it, as you can hear.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You're 100% correct. Look at your screen right now. If you're tired of the hide and seek games with big tech, where links disappear and episodes get throttled, I've got the fix. I'm Chris Aiken, and it's time for me to show you how to take back your access to the Classic Metal Show, the Seth Williams Show, and Chris Aiken Presents. Pick up your phone, go to the App Store or Google Play, and download the Locals app. It is 100% free. Once you're in, just search for the CMS network. You're going to see everything. every interview, every unfiltered rant, every deep dive music discussion, every uncensored news article we put up, all in one centralized, uncensored hub. No more chasing links across 5 different socials. This is our home. But if you really want the keys to the kingdom, look for that VIP upgrade. For just $4.99 a month, you're cutting out the commercials, getting the advanced drops before anyone else, and accessing bonus episodes that are way too heavy, dirty, or we just don't want to share with the free public. For the price of a cheap beer, you're supporting independent, unapologetic media. Download the Locals app today. Get some CMS wherever you are. And if you're a real one, join the VIP squad at classicmetalshow.locals.com. The Classic Metal Show and the CMS Network. It's uncensored. It's unapologetic. We will see you there. At this stage in your career, Pete, you guys have done what, 25 albums or something like that. There's such a massive catalog. And, as the guy that's been there for all of the catalog, I have to imagine there are songs that you wish you would have played more or, had incorporated themselves into the set probably more than they are, because at this point, half the set is got to be Hair of the Dog, Love Hurts, etc., Razmanaz. Are there songs that you wish you could incorporate, and is the door open maybe a little wider now that you have Gianni in here who represents Dan's voice a little better than Carl did?
Well, we've already, to tell the truth with you, we're doing things that we didn't do for the last really of the songs that are very popular. Things like, big songs like Telegram, Whiskey Drinking Woman, these songs like that we haven't done since way back in the Dan days. And I know all the fans love them, We can do them again because I've got a vocalist that's got this rock, blues, soul, if you like. And that's what you need for those songs. So we can do them again, he's got the right approach for doing songs like that. Now, as what you're talking about is like it's actually 75% of the set is written before you go on, or the people are, if you don't do, there's certain songs we do, and if you don't do them, the people are going to ask for their money back, right. And quite rightly so. You don't want to go along and see Deep Purple and they don't play Smoke on the Water. So right. So we know that most of it's set. So you've only really got about four songs, 5 songs that you can mess around with and change. So what you're saying, is there any songs that would really like to have done? There's things from a way back that would like to have played, but they wouldn't really mean anything to the audience. You know what I mean? The audience haven't. You get the feeling from the audience. They let you know what they want to hear, not just the hits from the ones that know. And you hear ones that, for instance, say, "Why don't you do blah blah blah?" And if enough people say that, then we'll look at blah blah blah.
Right?
Generally, the ones that the things that we do are really the greatest hits. And you really can't mess with that. For me, just to take one and say, "Oh well, I really liked playing that song," and even the guys in the band go, "What one was that? I can't really remember." There's no real point to that. Just going out there pleasing yourself. Right. So we do please the crowd with what we're picking. So there's not. We have enough things to change going back. When. Like I say, things like Telegram, Whiskey Drinking Woman, what's the other one? There's a few where you haven't done them for a long time, so you're reintroducing them, and that feels new to us because we haven't played it so long, So you get a little bit of spark going again, because you haven't played it for like 15 years or something, So it's nice to do that, but we don't like dig up something that nobody's really ever, some B-side that we just happen to like,
right?
There's no point in putting that in a set, really. There's no point in doing it.
Right. Pete, I'm curious, and this really has nothing to do with anything other than just being curious. Has there ever been a show that you played where you didn't play Hair of the Dog?
I don't. No, it's never. Not since it was recorded.
That's what I mean.
No, it's like Razamanaz. I mean, the Razamanaz is well, that was long time before Hair of the Dog.
Right.
I've never played a show where we never played that. I mean, I could play that thing in my sleep. In fact, I often do. But that's there's the Hair of the Dog, Love Hurts. Let me see. See, the thing is, we've got in the States, we have different things over in Europe as well. So there's things like we have a song that we will play it in the States, but that song "Dream On," which is, I mean, huge in Europe. It was a big hit in Europe, but it was never really released as a single in the States.
Right.
Now that's another thing. That's another one that would never be dropped over here. So that's kind of new for us playing over there. When we come, we've got the song that we do, for instance, "This Flight Tonight." We often used to come to America and not play that, except when we were way up in the north, because it was a big hit in Canada. So we would play it up. It was big in the Detroit area, but in Texas it meant nothing, So we do incorporate that in the set all the time now. But in Europe it was like a number one, So we've got really weird things like, and we got things happening in Brazil, where you never really heard the song. Yeah, "Love Leads to Madness" is a big. Yeah, I'll tell you one though, the best one of the lot. There's a song that we did a video for it for the first time we went to Russia, and it was on the album Snakes and Ladders. And it was the only video we had of the band at the time when we were going to do the first tour there. So they played it in Russia and it was called "Animals." "We Are Animals," this song, Yeah. So by the time we got to Russia, it was the biggest thing that we'd ever done. So when we go there, the song is massive, and so we have to play it all the time. So we thought, well, let's try that someplace else, because it was never really a big song anywhere else. So we did it one time. We were in the States years and years ago, and it was one night we were on tour. We said, let's play that and just see how it goes, because I mean it's massive where we're going. And we played it to the audience there, and we got a kind of polite applause and next. Okay, and you couldn't tell these people how huge that song is, like in half of the world.
Sure.
I mean, it was bigger than "Love Hurts," over there, but nothing. So it's kind of weird when you're choosing a set to play. I mean, when we're going to go down to Brazil after we play the American tour, and there'll be different songs that are really, really huge there. That we wouldn't even bother playing in America. So, yeah,
sure.
It's an interesting band to play with.
Sure. Do you think that would have been different if, and I mean, this is a big if that could have never happened, but if the internet would have existed in the 70s,
no, God forbid.
Well, I'm not saying that I would even want that. I'm just saying that just from a fact that if it had, then there would be, universal, more universal knowledge of the music instead of Russia liking this song and America liking that. Do you think that your entire, lineage would be different if it had, because people would have heard more of it?
It's hard to, possibly. I mean, it's hard to say, because these songs are, they're on YouTube and things like that. That can be seen. And you can see the reactions from different places, and it's never made that much difference. The people still like what they like in those areas. In Brazil, like we do, as I say, "Love Leads to Madness" or something like one of that, or "Where Are You Now," which is a massive song. And actually, it's one of the ones that get played in America a lot with the radio stations, but it was never that much of a hit for the people with the audience live. But that's one of the examples. These things, they're already there. They're already on the YouTube, and it's never really made that much difference to who loved what.
Sure.
We still come and play "We Are Animals" in Kansas City. They would still go, okay, now what's the next song? That kind of thing. So I don't know. I don't know about I think the internet. Had it been around in the 70s, you might not have had a lot of the songs that came out.
True.
Then. People have been terrified to write the lyrics. They'd be getting had up for being unwoke, and
right.
I think if the internet had been around longer, I think it could possibly the only thing that could kill rock and roll.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I firmly believe that. It's like,
Right.
rock and roll was always a very, very, very free environment, and it's not like that anymore.
No, it's definitely not. But
Follow the chaos. The Classic Metal Show is live on X. Stream all the episodes for free, watch the show live every Saturday night, or just get there and find out what is going on with the Classic Metal Show. Get your metal feed, x.com/CMS Rocks.
Stand and you got to watch what you're singing, and you got. I don't know, I don't think. I don't think Little Richard would have been allowed to do Tutti Frutti. Let me. That would have been a sin.
right. Well, one thing I did want to ask you, Pete, the song "Love Hurts," which is obviously uber massive, either that or "Hair of the Dog" is definitely your biggest song, at least here in the States.
Yeah.
There's a whole litany of bands, and I put Nazareth in this as a band that made their bones on a ballad, and it really misled so much of the casual population as to what the band is. If people's first taste of Nazareth is "Love Hurts," that is not representative of what Nazareth's career has been. You guys are way more hard rocking with this great song. Do you think that in that way that maybe your music wasn't investigated by fans as hard just because a lot of people don't like ballads as much as they like the rockers?
Yeah, but as Felice Bryant, who wrote the song with her husband Borlo, said, you get a longer life with a ballad. That's like, and it's true. No, that was the thing, is the people heard that. That was the very first rock ballad. That was the first rock ballad. So when you're listening to that ballad, anybody can hear when you're listening to that ballad that you're not listening to some crooner. We don't have Dean Martin here. You're listening to you're listening to a rock band, but it's played like a rock band and it's sung like a rock band. But what you say is true, because we would meet guys on the plane in those days, back then, and they all bought Hair of the Dog album for their wife because she heard, Love Hurts. And of course, when she put the album on and they heard Changing Times, it was like, what's this? But then, you'd have to be mad to buy that album when you see the cover if you thought it was going to be all lovey-dovey. It's certainly not going to be like that. But as you say, there was we've had great success with ballads. I mean, like I say, the song I was telling you earlier, "Dream On," was a massive hit for us, and probably our biggest hit in Europe. And again, it's a ballad, Yeah. And where it was a ballad, and it's massive in South America again. So we had a kind of reputation for doing the big ballad, if you like, and I don't think people, you say, for people being misled of what the band would sound like. I agree with you. It was a ballad, but if I heard a ballad getting sung like that and getting played like that, I would kind of work out that this is probably a rock band that's playing this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you guys obviously carried on, and there are examples too of bands whose biggest song is a ballad that have had humongous success not being labeled as a ballad as well. Aerosmith comes to mind, But well, Pete, obviously, man, it's a great time to be a Nazareth fan. You've got the great tour, Titans of Classic Rock, coming here to the States, April 30th, starts in Minnesota.
Let me just come in there to say the Love Hearts, the one that you're talking about.
Yeah.
What I would say to the fans is, wait till you hear this guy singing it.
Okay.
This is the thing that knocked us on our ass when we heard Gianni for the first time. When he sang with us, he actually came to the rehearsal and said, "Can we please do it in the original key, because I sing it there." Well, I've never heard it sung in the original key live until he did it, and it's to say mind-blowing is understating it, So I'm really looking forward to the fans' reaction, especially in America, when they hear Lovers. Then you'll know we're talking ballad here with a big B.
Right. Very good. Well, I know I can't wait. I know you'll be here at the Goodyear Theater here in Akron, Ohio, which is where I'm going to be catching the show. People should definitely catch it wherever they are. If it comes to your town, you need to go. It is, one more time, it is the Titans of Classic Rock with Nazareth and Foghat. And Pete, this has been fun, man. Thanks for joining me here on Chris Aiken Presents.
It's my pleasure, Chris. You take it easy, and I'll look forward to seeing you in Akron.
Absolutely. You've listened to the interviews, but you haven't heard the whole story. I'm Chris Aiken, and I'm inviting you to get behind the curtain. The Classic Metal Show is now on Substack, and if you aren't a VIP subscriber, you are missing out on the real meat of these conversations. We're talking about VIP exclusive content, extended interviews, raw industry takes, and the type of high-octane access that my 30 years in this business gets you. Don't just be a fan, be an insider. Get the unfiltered, world-class rock and metal content you crave without the corporate filters. Go to cmspn.substack.com and upgrade to VIP today. That's cmspn.substack.com. Own your access.